Hello, and welcome to another timeless reading. This is Scarlet Serpent, and I'm excited to bring you, as I said, another timeless reading. This one's going to be all about what your spirit guides are learning from you, and not in a direct way that says like you're actually teaching them directly, but more so as a result of them experiencing how you experience the world and how you overcome the challenges of living on Earth, and how you overcome your own spiritual lessons. As I believe that spirit guides, angels, can still expand and learn through experience, and that's what part of why certain guides appear in your life in certain phases. It's as if they are not only here to help you with their knowledge and their perspective, but also that they could learn something as well. So I hope this reading is insightful and fun and lighthearted as well. So we have 3 piles for you to choose from today, and it's actually piles, not crystals this time. The first pile, so pile 1, is this image here. Pile 1. Pile 2. Whoops. I didn't look at it, so pile 2 and pile 3. So take a moment to tune in. I'll actually show you all the piles together, and here we go. Okay, so if you need some more time, you could pause the video now. Otherwise, I will see you at your pile. Pile 1, if you chose actually the 6 of Pentacles. So I'll let you zoom out a little bit there, and this card actually represents your spirit guide. I feel as though maybe this guide has been with you since early childhood, has seen you grow. There's a very comforting feeling from this, very nostalgic. Maybe likes to communicate to you mostly through your dreams. Very wise and nurturing. Possibly, it's pentacles, but I'm getting kind of like an emotional feeling to it. Like I'm not afraid to step into emotions as the guide. So I don't know how you would resonate with that. I also see colors in the balloons, so balloons might have significance to you in some way, or specific colors that you see can indicate, so it could be like a mode of communication that you have with your guide. I do feel as though compared to the other piles, this is more of a friendship. It really feels like a friend relationship where you see each other as eye to eye and as companions, more so than for example, if you associated your guide to be like an ascended master, that they're just kind of like a little, it could potentially be a different hierarchy. Of course, hopefully that resonates with some of you, but in this case anyway, for you, pile 1, it's mostly like a friendship. So let's see what they're learning from you. I pulled one oracle, I haven't seen it. Oh, wow. Let's see if it will zoom in. Maybe not. Okay. The card is stillness. You'll notice how there's yellow. I'm actually wearing yellow. It could be how you find clarity in a very busy world. How you find stillness when everything around you seems to be telling you to do the opposite, really, to move forward quickly and be active. And yeah, this is very interesting that your guide would be learning about what you can obtain in being still. And that might have been something you've struggled with in the past, where you want to move constantly and get things done. I'm going to find clarification for the stillness card. But grounding yourself as well, the importance of grounding. But really, it's more of like how you connect with yourself. And I feel as though your guide is kind of seeing how kind of impressed they are with the fact that you take the time to get away from all of the noise, despite, again, society telling you that that's what is proper, that's what you're supposed to do, be busy and be a productive person, and make money and focus on your responsibilities, and to still make time for stillness, to still make time to listen to the voice, the whisper within your heart center, really, is something that allows you to, again, with the Six of Pentacles, kind of look back in time as well. I get that sense of look back in time. This feels like the Six of Cups in a way, but it's not. It feels nostalgic, no? Maybe your guide has ran away. Maybe you ran away. I feel like that's something you ought to do. We have the Seven of Wands here. And I feel as though when it comes to stillness, that's really just clarification that there's power in being alone. There's a power and clarity in pushing away all of the outside noise. And as the Six of Circles again shows, it's kind of like walking away from those situations that aren't serving you, and your ability to do that is also remarkable. Walk away, defend yourself, retreat, and again, through the stillness, recognize what is ringing true for you. So it's kind of like following your own truth. And I think that's an interesting dynamic that you would have with your spirit guide as well, is that even though they might give signs, I feel like your connection with your spirit guide is actually pretty strong, and you're well aware of each other. Well, your spirit guide obviously to you, but you to your spirit guide. But where's I going with that? I don't know. Maybe you'll meditate by trees as well. That's kind of like a place where you connect with your guide, or you connect to trees in that way. It might be like ancestral as well. I'm showing this image a lot more because I just feel like there's a lot to it. There's a comfort in the forest. There's a comfort in the stillness of the moon, the quiet that comes from it. And I think that's where you communicate the most with your guide. Let's see what this card is. A Five of Cups. I feel like this is something that has actually brought focus to what really matters to you. It's like you've lost a lot, but what you've retained is a sense of compassion for yourself, and kind of acknowledging what you've been through as something that's been difficult. There's that sort of reflection of and empathy for yourself that you're starting to build. And I think that's kind of something that your guide is learning from you and recognizing as a strength as well, that you're able to be empathetic to yourself, And a lot of people who are empathic tend to just pour that love out to other people. And what you've started to do, I feel like this is fairly recent, is you've started to direct that love to yourself. And I think that's something that your guide would have wanted. It's kind of, I get this sense of like going back in time a lot and reflecting on how things turned out through a new perspective. And I think maybe that's something that your guide kind of does as well, or is realizing the importance of going back and seeing even the heartbreak as something that you could learn from, that you could find spiritual, how do you say, value in, It's just not focusing. There's probably a good reason for that, though. To not focus on the heartbreak, but what you do have, of the spiritual wisdom that has come from, because through that heartbreak, it kind of forced you into yourself, It kind of forced you to, because people come and go, friendships, relationships, even jobs, circumstances, they all change, and the biggest constant that you have is your breath and your beating heart, to be honest. And, not to get too deep, but like, that's the thing that you'll always have that won't betray you. I think you're coming to terms with connecting with your body, and I think that's something that your guide is acknowledging is a strength of yours. I also have the 10 of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, and Ace of Pentacles. I feel as though I got that sense earlier of societal influences and implications, and kind of like pressure. So you might have been someone who has overworked themselves in the past. You have the Desert. So this is actually one of the only cards in this deck that is bright, but it's like hazy as well. So during the day, you might be someone who works really hard. And so that's what makes that a little more impressive as well. Taking time for stillness, probably at night, that you could still be productive and still make time for yourself. Because I do feel as though you're someone who is very interested in being materially sound and steady and safe. Not safe, but building your own stability. But I would also go so far as to say that your way of doing that is on your own terms. And I feel as though some of you might resonate with the fact that you already have your own business, but if not, that's something you're stepping into. You might be trying to find a way to make that work for yourself. It's like you're getting away from the grind, going your own path with the wolf, towards new financial prosperity through your own means, through your spirituality. And again, I'll just show you real quick, because these are two different decks. Just the presence of trees is very strong here. So please focus. Thank you. Look at that. The same exact type of tree as well. So I do feel a very strong connection to trees being grounded. Lots of pentacles in this reading as well. So you might have a lot of earth in your chart, in your birth chart. But I feel as though that grounding and that, I would even say communion with trees specifically, is kind of what has brought you down into yourself and into being stable within yourself. And I would say that that has to do with the heartbreak as well. That you found stability in your own heart center when, you know, things were going on in the background. That's kind of like a power that you found, and that your guide is pretty, I keep saying amazed and impressed as a friend, that you've been able to center yourself despite a lot of heartache and a lot of trials and tribulations. It's kind of like centering yourself, and that's where that groundedness comes from. Even this card looks kind of like a pentacle, no? You might also connect with wolves. You might consider yourself to be like a lone wolf, and this Five of Cups also looks like that, like a lone wolf sort of energy, following strictly your instincts, strictly your heart. With the wolf again, that's very hit or miss here. Maybe you feel like that's how people are. Either they see you clearly or they don't. There's really no in between. And when they see you, they recognize your beauty, like the fullness of what you have to offer. And when they don't, they just walk right past. I don't know if that resonates for you. Hopefully some of it does. If there's anything else, Mars. Yeah, so I think I'm going to close out your reading with that. Hopefully you found it insightful and relevant, just to see, you know, how you interact with your guides, a little bit about your spirit guides and what you're going through now. I like the wolf a lot. I don't know, I really like the wolf. Being independent, despite him just moving away from the crowd, with trees, finding your stillness, creating your own reality, and being clear about what's really important to you. Because, again, there's been a lot of fighting, a lot of defending yourself that's exhausted your energy. So you find energy in nature, you find energy in stillness, and I feel as though your guide really has noticed that it's important for you to fight for what you believe in, to stand up for yourself, because a wolf can bite when it needs to. Okay, I'm going to end the reading here, but I hope some of this resonated. Please let me know. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the reading, like, subscribe, share. It really does help the channel, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. 2, if you chose this card, it's actually the 5 of Cups. I thought it was the 3 of Cups initially, but it is the 5 of Cups. There's already kind of a connection to pile 1 here. If you're interested, you can go and watch that. I feel as though your spirit guide, this card actually represents your spirit guide, and I feel as though your spirit guide has gone through a lot of emotional upheaval, a lot of emotional trials and tribulations and loss. And I feel as though, while I don't want to go too much into different piles, but actually I won't. How's that? But anyway, this is really about your guide has gone through a sort of mastery of the heart center, of the emotions. Yeah, your guide's gone through a lot of losses, and maybe that's something that resonates with you as well. But let's see what your guide is learning. I haven't looked at this card yet from you. Multiverse. These are very profound cards. Multiverse. Let's try and focus this again because there's a lot going on here. Maybe you could pick something up from the imagery. Last try. But I do feel as though you're connecting to different philosophies, different spirits, different ideas that just comes from the whole star seed thing, interdimensional thing, like archangels, angels, cherubim, seraphim, and just the idea of a multiverse. Or I don't know if you're just interested in, like the new Spider-Man movie and Doctor Strange and all of this, and it's kind of expanded your awareness a little bit in that way. But I do feel as though the guide is realizing and interested in the way in which you expand your reality to create new potential, to create new possibilities. I do feel as though this is deliberate as well. Let's see if we could find a connection between. Well, let's find. What's this multiverse card about? I'm very curious. Okay, so we have the Page of Pentacles. This is interesting. And the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords here feels like an expression of what you want to go after. It's like a bridge between all of the things you want to happen and kind of making everything happen at once. With the Jack of Pentacles, there's this sort of go-getter energy, a sense of royalty. So he's touching his third eye as well. So you come across as a very focused person, I think. Focused on what you want, focused on what you expect to happen. And I do feel as though that manifests itself in kind of your expression, the way you think. You're a very airy person, I would say. Like you might have a lot of air in your chart, like Gemini, something along those lines. You might be a musician as well, but I think that this guide is learning about the power of the mind. So as a guide who's been very heart-centered, they are realizing how much you could influence upon the physical reality just based on what you're thinking. I feel as though you might be aware of your telepathic abilities and just the power of thought and how that creates your reality. You'll see, and it's very difficult to show this in this deck, but there's little gold lines. Hopefully that you could see. You might be someone who communicates with animals, animal communication. If that doesn't resonate, definitely a medium. I don't know if you could see that. I'm going to try and move it. But there is a line between the guy's forehead and the dog. It's a circle there. So definitely strong telepathic abilities within you, and I think that's just something that your guide is learning from you, just the impact of and the focus that you have in the mind, just to the point where even if there's a heartbreak situation, you could mentally kind of override it and maybe even communicate with like exes and things of that nature and have conversations within your meditation, just to kind of close doors or open them or forgive them or what have you. But there's a very strong sense of communication with it. Yeah, because usually the Eight of Swords is the image in traditional tarot. I believe it's Gemini in Jupiter. I don't remember, to be honest, but where they're trapped. This is not what I'm getting whatsoever, and it feels as though if that's kind of what you're feeling intuitively, you are someone who might feel trapped from time to time, but very easily gets out of it just through the power of the mind, which is pretty incredible. I got quite a few cards here that fell out, but the one that's on the floor is always the most important, so let's pull it out real quick. This one is the Two of Cups. Interesting. There's an appreciation of love when you do connect with someone that understands you and that doesn't betray you. Excuse me. We also have the Two of Pentacles, two twos, balancing out. You get a snake kind of sneaking in there, and we have quite a bit of cups here. We have the Queen of Cups and the Three of Cups. And then the Hermit. The Hermit is where you have your mastery. I'm just going to put that there right now. When you go into Hermit mode, you tap into that multiverse potential. You kind of like camouflage, fade in and out, do a bunch of things. There's with multiverse and then the multiple arms of the octopus, I feel like there's a connection there, and I feel as though your spirit guide is one to acknowledge the work that you do when you are in meditation, specifically in changing people's minds, maybe like recognizing different possibilities. I feel like it might get to the point where you prefer to be independent, but at the same time, with the Two of Cups and the Three of Cups and the Queen of Cups, there's a lot of cups here. The Queen of Cups is moving away from the Three. It's like you'd rather be in relationships that are just one person. You're very balanced as well. So there's a balance of finances, there's a balance in sharing love with others. I feel as though your guide is also kind of cognizant of, and I feel like your guide might actually intervene at times when it comes to meeting new people. So I don't know if you've noticed that, but there's like, you're supposed to go on a date, or you're supposed to like hook up with friends at a place, and something just doesn't go right. I feel like your guide might intervene, just because they don't want people taking advantage of you in any way, emotionally speaking, because they've gone through a lot. And I feel as though they might have a different perspective on the relationships that you have. What may seem to be joyous could be something that's, I don't want to say abusive, but distracting from your goals, from things that you really want to go after, because balance is the name of the game for you, especially with the Eight of Swords as well. So your spirit guide is learning how you manage to tap into your emotions without being at the mercy of them, without just drifting with the water. You can actually fight the current with relative ease, and Yeah, that's another thing your guide is learning from you. Not only mental mastery, mental, I was going to say manipulation of the physical world, but balance as well. Balance in lending your energy to other people and being cognizant of when enough is enough and when to move away and step into solitude. And you're a very creative person. You collaborate well with others. And I also find it interesting how, or I feel like your guide finds it interesting how you're able to attract the right people for any given situation or project that you might need to complete. So kind of like attracting a team that truly aligns with you, and you're willing to go, travel to other dimensions. Yeah, I get this feeling that you would even be someone who like connects with a specific planet, alien race, like Pleiadians, Arcturians, and then they somehow manifest themselves in human form, or someone who associates with that specific race, and like you'll really see eye to eye. You'll really, both of you have a very different view of the world and are very mindful of the thoughts that you put about each other. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the way you think of your friends. Again, telepathic. There's a very strong telepathic vibe to you, and your guide is, especially with the heartbreak that your guide, I feel, has gone through, recognizing the power of the mind, and it's really just giving them another perspective of what they've gone through as spirits and how you navigate through your life. In a way that doesn't allow them to, because I feel as though they might have been worried about detaching themselves emotionally. Like they want to stay attached to the heart center, and you're showing them, obviously you still have your trials and tribulations, but they're seeing how you could balance the heart and the mind, where you could be intuitively going towards what makes your heart expand while being discerning and cold, calculating, and observant when you need to be, so that you don't end up in situations where there's heartbreak, where you don't end up in situations where people are talking behind your back. It's like your mind is actually what's guiding you as well, keeping things a little practical. And yeah, I think I'm going to close the reading off with that. I did want it to be a bit shorter, but I hope you gained something from this. I'm hoping that it resonated at least a little bit. If it did, you can like and subscribe and share. It really does help. I do have information about personal readings below. And I hope to see you again in a future reading. This is a nice card, so I just wanted to show it to you. Kind of looks like the clouds are parting in a full moon, but you're very connected to the water and air as well. So yeah, I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Hi, pile 3. If you chose this card, it's actually the 6 of Cups. And this card represents your spirit guide. I feel as though your spirit guide was definitely into the occult arts, definitely both a teacher and a student. Might identify as a gypsy or a witch or wizard, what have you. But definitely one of those beings who's pushing you to study the occult knowledge. This includes tarot, astrology, mediumship, but definitely a strong sense of spell work and journaling. And this is, again, representing your guide. So what could your guide possibly be learning from you? Let's see. And I pulled an oracle. I haven't looked at it, so let's see what that is. Meander. You learn through wandering. You allow yourself to get lost, and I feel as though being the Pentacles here, that your guide was someone who's fairly rigid and practical, maybe Capricorn. I'm just laughing because I'm like predicting the signs of your guide. I don't really know, to be honest, but it can come across as very, studious and focused and trying to absorb information. And you're someone who learns, like, you'll find an interest in a subject by accident, like by just wandering, and one day it comes to you and you're like, well, maybe I'll try that today, and then next week, oh, maybe I'll dabble into this, and then that's kind of, you learn what you like put little pieces together, and that creates your own river, that creates your own learning experience. And I feel as though your guide is learning about flexibility, and the creative nature that comes from exploration, like how that could inspire how you could learn from different sources that may not be traditional, like books and courses and this and that, although you could definitely take a little bit from that. I feel as though a lot of your learning and application of that knowledge comes from allowing yourself to go a different way, so you learn in a different way than what your guide has. And I feel as though your guide's like, because I feel if you, a lot of people connect with different beings like goddesses and ascended masters, and your guide kind of has a vibe of that sort. So I don't know if you resonate with that idea that your guide might be an ascended master, which makes things a little more interesting when you think about they've mastered everything, and yet they could still learn about being less rigid and less formal and less, that's not to say not respectful of different arts and different practices, but you do so in a more playful way, so you could allow the energy of, because the universe is constantly expanding, and you kind of allow yourself to expand with it, so you're constantly learning as things are created simultaneously. I hope that makes sense. We have the Six of Cups again. Okay, so that's just a confirmation there. A sense of structure here, very structurally sound, but loving as well. Very structurally sound. So I feel as though even in your willingness to meander, as the other card suggests, there is a structure behind it, and I feel as though your guide is recognizing the patterns that come from even random things aren't that random. So the fact that you allow yourself to be a bit more lighthearted, that in itself is guiding you to be a better student. Does this make sense? And then we have the Fool. This is incredible. This is incredible confirmation of what I'm saying, allowing yourself to go out and be the Fool. That's the spirit in itself, which is absolute wisdom, but it doesn't come across that way. It's like, and someone who wasn't your guide would mistake you for just someone who's not to be taken seriously, but their presence indicates like they're aware of the wisdom you possess. You understand? Look at this. Look at this Fool card. The Fool is following his spirit guide. And again, that lightheartedness with meandering. The path to wisdom and illumination doesn't necessarily have to be a straight line. It could be fun. And it's through the expansion of the heart that you'll be able to, I was going to say transcribe, the energetic insights that you're getting into something that's practical. So it's as if you're learning from a book, when in reality you're just learning from nature, you know? that might be where your insights come from, and that might be where your desire to study different things comes from. Just looking, for example, at a lake and seeing two bubbles collide in a lake, and you wonder, like, that kind of looks like if two galaxies collide, and then you decide to study galaxies. Like, just I don't know. But that's where you get your inspiration to delve into different topics and subjects, and that's when you put a different cap on and focus, and then you meander again. You go off and just explore the world, and I think that's the biggest lesson for your guide is loosening up and acknowledging that through being loose, there's still a structure behind it. There's still a whisper from spirit, from an internal wisdom that manifests itself through unique experiences. It's kind of like an unorthodox way of learning about the world. I wouldn't break anything. Okay. So we have the High Priestess and the Nine of Pentacles. Interesting balance again of kind of mysticism and being stable with this. Nine of Pentacles. Very proud. So you are, again, guided by intuition towards things that satisfy you in a material way. That's where you get your stability from. The owl has some notes as well, if you could see that. Little papers there. So definitely communication through wandering. It's very interesting that it's like you learn the most when your mind is clear, but you clear your mind not through meditation so much like the other piles. You clear your mind by moving. Let's see the next cards. We have Judgment. And this is part of your life path as well. And your guide's seeing this from a different perspective of how you're stepping into your life purpose. We have another hawk who sees down below, getting ready to attack at night. So what I'm seeing here is two different wise birds, but different ways of catching their prey. Different ways of catching their prey. One's a bit quieter than the other one's faster. Okay. The Page of Wands. Again, like transformative inspired action. Then we have the Eight of Pentacles. It's like through wandering, you're building bridges through of different styles of learning. You're connecting. There's a strong indication of learning with you, and your spirit guide, being a student and a teacher, is very close to you for that reason, because they like learning as well. It's just the method of learning is a little different from what they're used to. You learn by doing and exploring. And you connect the pieces. That's what I'm getting with the Eight of Pentacles and the Meandering card. Is that you're connecting different dots and creating your own vision of what the universe means to you and how to navigate through it and learn from it. It's like that's where your perspective comes from. And that's what your guide is learning as well. So, putting those pieces together. Yeah, the Page of Wands for me just feels like more exploration, following the fire within you. Interesting how these two cards are facing down. So I do feel like you try to put your own twist on previous knowledge as well. So if like you read a page about how, for example, Reiki is supposed to work, and then through your own observation and experience apply that to a different field. It's like associating, for example, different chakras to tarot, or the planets to different chakras, or something. Like you're just combining different things and connecting dots, and it's really opening up the sky for you and your spirit guide. It almost feels astonishing from their perspective, just the dots are connecting and the way you're connecting them, again, in an unorthodox way. And I feel as though upon your own exploration, part of your life purpose is communicating that with others, sharing that wisdom, that perspective, that insight that you've obtained through trial and error, and navigating different worlds. Okay, so I'm going to close the reading out here. I did want it to be a bit shorter, but hopefully you enjoy the reading. Please let me know. Comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care.